Hey everyone, welcome to this week's show. With you this week, Kyle, GM of Team Rocket,
Hey, hey, hey.
reigning Caucasaurus holder, very proud holder, proud of this league's traditions in its short time.
I believe that I am technically in the safe zone for not being a repeat Caucasaurus. So
There,
we're getting to that place where it's almost guaranteed to be a certain someone. You know, we're almost there. Maybe a couple more weeks.
I don't see him climbing out of this hole. I think he's gonna have it. Uh,
Yeah, I think that's been safe to say for some time now.
yeah, the guy hasn't got a single win yet this year, so I'm not worried about him.
No, he just might have more of a chance towards the end because, well, as we're going to talk about, we have some sellers now.
Finally, the flood gates have opened. Um, Yeah, the day we recorded, we said there was going to be some sellers soon, and they just fell into place, right? So we're gonna get into that. But first, I guess let's talk about last week. Some big matchups here, standing wise. Um, the Champion, 10-4-2 now, taking down NA Goalie Paradise, 6-10 in 14th. What happened here?
I mean, Casey's just an A, and he's facing Le Champion. And those two things combined for a big win for you. I mean, this was pretty easy. Looks like probably your Florida Panthers got you a lot of PIMs because you had 50 PIMs this week. Your boys were busy.
Liam O'Brien, secret,
Oh,
secret. He just a
and that
pimp.
was that a game against Florida?
It was a game against Florida. You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
anyone who might have been following a couple weeks ago, there was a dirty hit from Cousins on Coyote, who was already down on his knees, and Zucker took offense to that and just literally cross-checked him right into the boards. Got 3-game suspension for it. The refs weren't gonna call anything on Cousins, so he took into his own hands, and that was a rematch game. And 5 seconds in there was a fight. 7 seconds in there was another fight. It was a little rough. Very good
You
game,
know,
except for the
uh,
goal.
Florida has to be one of the most entertaining teams in the league this year to watch because they do it all. You know, they're like the super villains in the league
You like him or
almost.
hate him, like they will entertain you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like never a bad game with Florida.
No, just it was a good week. Liam O'Brien, a little story behind me picking him. I had to pick up players for last week, and I got rid of a fucking dead roster spot finally. Jack, I have been holding on since November. He got hurt, came back. They sent him down to the minors. So I decided against Nick, I can't use these dead roster spots. On Saturday, I drop them. On fucking Monday, don't the Canadians finally call him back up from the minors after I held on to him for like 6-7 weeks. Uh,
Oh yeah, that's the way it always goes.
like 3 days later, luckily Liam O'Brien was out there. He's essentially a forward version of Jackeye. All he does is hit and pim. So
Yeah, at least he had a good backup. Like this reminds me of when I got screwed on Swayman when that fucking Bruins goalie came back who should have stayed retired.
oh, Rask.
Rask comes back, and I didn't want to be stuck with a dead roster spot, so I had to drop Swayman because they sent him down to the AHL. But Rask got lit up the first game, decided to retire the next day, and then like before he even reacts, like Swayman was gone, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes, like
Yeah,
that
because if you
sucks.
just drop him, you can't even put a claim on him. So
No,
you have to wait till he
no,
clears waivers and someone's grabbing that.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I feel your pain, man.
At least it didn't hurt me too much because I got a player who does the exact same thing, but I was a little aggravated that of the timing of it for sure. I finally
Oh
make a
yeah.
decision on him, and then 2 days later, oh, we're calling him up. Like, fuck him. Still got the win though because it was Casey. Didn't have to worry too much. Uh, but it was actually it was a good week. It was a fun week, Casey. I needed that. Bob's Nugs, 11-5-0 in second place. Took down mentally bedarded 7-9 now in 11th. What happened here?
Yeah, Travis is still dominating, putting up good numbers across the board here. You know, Kyle got a shutout. That still didn't really help out his goalie situation because someone got him the shutout point, and then Kyle got more goals. But otherwise, was just it was completely the Travis show here.
Yeah, Travis on a roll. But we'll see. Kyle made a decision and bought this week when the sellers came out. So um, I was talking to him, and he's just with the couple of years he's had, he's like just making the playoffs is a win for him, and he's gonna fight to get in. So good on him.
Yeah,
He's not far out.
no, he's got a chance, and just depending on his schedule, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Paulie the goalie, 7-9 in 10th place after losing to Sorokin D's Nuts. 9-6-1 in sixth place. This guy goes on vacation in fucking Jamaica, and he's on our chat all week. Somebody put it down. Like, enjoy your time. But he was hilarious this week, trying to get everyone to Jamaica. Like, I don't know if Neil's coming back, but
We've
uh,
lost him for good.
what happened here?
Um, yeah, you know what? This is kind of Sean's week to win, and because Neil didn't put up very good goalie numbers, but Sean's were worse. And a 4.20 GAA. I mean, we all like 420, but not when it comes to GAA.
That's right. You stay away from that.
Yeah, yeah,
120
definitely stay
saves?
with that. So I guess he got a little high, didn't save the pucks too well, and that was a story for the week for Sean, and Neil gets to relax a little bit in Jamaica, and we'll plan our 10th anniversary
Yeah,
down south.
he really wants that. I don't know if it's feasible. I guess just get as many as you can. Like, I don't
Well,
think it's feasible that 16 will go, right? But
yeah, I mean, like I'm down because I've been wanting to go on a vacation down south. I wanted to do it this year actually, but didn't work out. But next year is definitely on the radar for me. So, if we get a little Scorchers trip or a bunch of people together, I'm down.
um also of note, Sean started selling midweek here. So he saw the writing on the wall and just kind of went all in with the sales at this point, right? So uh Neil pulling up to play against Sean here at the right time. Uh and Sean moving out some pieces, right?
That's it. And I think this is one of the ones you picked differently for me. And if I'm not mistaken, you went 8 for 8 this week, didn't you?
I did go 8 for 8.
Yeah, damn.
You went
Yeah, the ones
five
we
for eight.
yeah, because we've picked three different ones, and I lost in all three of those. I was like, oh, that's 2 weeks in a row. Somebody goes 8 for 8.
That's it. It's gonna be the rest of the season.
Yeah, I feel like this week was thrown off because there were sellers, and you know, um,
It
my
changed
match.
things.
It did change things, like my match against Dan, and then Sean's match against Neil. Not saying it would have been a different result, but could have been different. I don't know.
Could have. Well, we'll never know. We always see is what I foretold.
Yeah.
Daltrey again coming out of nowhere here and just actually being relevant. 8-8 in eighth place. Taking down Derek. Fantasy football is over, but not his losing ways. 4-10-2 and 15th. What happened here?
Yeah, I mean, Daltrey has a good team, and when he actually starts as a lineup, he can win. It's kind of crazy,
What a concept.
right? And this moves him into 8th place. Really, he should be around like 4th place, but puts him in the 8th place. Whatever.
No, I think it's a big win for him. Derek, well, he was the first one to drop. At this point, at the start of last week, we knew he was selling. We just didn't know the results of his little offer scenario there that he pulled. I do love his press conference
Oh,
that he let out. That was fucking great.
that was amazing. We got to see more of that.
I appreciate the time and effort that took to actually just come up with it right out and present, right? So good on you, Derek. I really enjoyed that. At least he made the way he set a deadline. He made it worth it.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I'll thank Derek as well because the way he conducted his sell off, influenced how I did mine, and it was beneficial for me, as we'll talk about.
Yeah, yeah. And then it wasn't as beneficial for Sean when he tried it.
No, I don't think there were as many buyers at that point.
No.
That's why
That's
if you
the thing.
sell it,
That's the thing. People who got in there first, all these guys who were just like horny for trades, like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Like, and then by the time Sean
floodgates
came
are
up,
open.
like, I'm tired out, man. Round three, like, oh.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I jumped on it, because I'm looking at, I'm like, fuck, trying to take like a realistic look at things. I'm like, well, if I push this and wait too long, I'm gonna miss out on all the good draft picks. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pull the trigger now and make sure I get my haul.
There's a couple out there with still some good draft picks. I think
Oh yeah,
both Knicks have some good picks left, so that could be interesting to watch as more sellers emerge, right? But who knows
yeah,
what that'll be? February 21st is 21st is the trade deadline, guys. So it's coming up fast.
3 weeks.
Forgot about Dre, 12-3-1, still in first. Dousing the dumpster fire, 6-8-2 in 12th place. I think he's almost ready to throw in the towel here. What happened here?
Yeah, I mean, Nick was dominant, 17 goals, 32 assists, plus 17 power play points, 4 game-winning goals. Those are tough numbers to beat, you know. And he was able to pick up a few other categories. Dumpster Fire had a decent week, like 1.97 GAA, a 937 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. That's pretty
That's
fucking
impressive.
good. Yeah, for sure. It is unfortunate that he's going against the top dog in the league this week, really, because against anybody else, he probably would have won this week.
I was thinking too, like it's crazy that his goalies are what really got him points because I don't think his goaltending is great, but they played
Yeah,
well last week.
yeah, that's it. Like, who does he have for goalies here? Well, Samsonov got a shutout,
Yeah,
and then Picard for Edmonton. You
like
know,
well, yeah. If
like that.
Edmonton's goalie's available right now, grab him. Like even if it's a
Yeah,
split start, like you're gonna get
you're
good
going to get a
value
win.
right now.
They're at what, 16 game winning streak right now?
17.
Oh, they hit 17,
Yeah, yeah.
so they're tied for the best overall right now.
They are they're a machine. It sucks for them because now they're on the All-Star break. So when they come back, are they gonna be at the same level or are they gonna take a step back?
Yeah, and well, I imagine they really want that NHL record as well. Want to be in sole possession of it anyway.
After they started, like the way they started, yeah. Like,
Yeah, because I think they're tied with the Pittsburgh Penguins for the longest streak right now in NHL history. And that's I think that's the 92, 93 Penguins. So a pretty impressive team, Yager, Lemieux, if I'm not mistaken.
yep. Larry Murphy, I think. Some
Larry Murphy.
some good old school names we're throwing out. Some Kevin Stevens, like
Oh,
maybe
I
Ronnie
forgot.
Francis back then. Like
That's a good friggin' team.
they had a great team in the '90s. Ulf Samuelson, I know you like him.
Oh yeah, Mr. Cheap Shot.
He'd have a place right in today's NHL. Wild Husky Hockey, 0-15-1, 16th place. Patches O'Hooligan taking him down, enjoying his Braden bye week, 8-7-1 in 7th place. What happened here?
The Braden bye week. He did outscore Patches, got more power play points.
Wow.
So that's kind of impressive, I guess. You got a shorty. I mean, that's 4 points. It's probably more than normal for him. But yeah, Patches had an okay week. He's probably lucky he's playing Braden this week, in all honesty. But I mean, he enjoys his Braden bye week and solidifies himself into seventh. He continues to climb out of, a few weeks ago he was out of the playoff contention, and now he's in the thick of it. And I don't see him going back down. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I think Patches is a playoff team for sure. So This is a good week to be lined up with Braden. His guys took it easy. Didn't matter. It was an easy win for him. Now he'll move on, and hopefully for him, keep the momentum going and make the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
Saucy Pass, 10-6 in fifth place, taken down. Captain Crunch, 8-8 in ninth place, just on the outside, tied with his son. What happened here?
Yeah, this is a really tight week. Both teams played well. They tied in shots on goal. They tied in power play points. They tied in wins. This is a week that could have went either way, but it went to the higher seeded team. It pushed Domo out of playoff contention into ninth place. I mean, he's tied for eighth, but not a place that Domo wants to be in. Uh, this keeps Corey on a good path to a good spot going into the final stretch of the season. Because right now people are going to be jockeying and probably trying to avoid playing certain teams in the first round.
Yeah, the easier you can make your path, the better, right? So, God, I remember having to play Domo in the finals. Whew, that was the best. I thought the same though when I went up against Mark, and that went against me. That turned.
Yeah. Well, and really, like, you shouldn't even been there. So
I should not have been there. That was a gift, but the records don't show that.
that's right.
Fetch me a drink. 10-6 took down Team Rocket. 6-8-2 in 13th. Tell me about this.
I mean, I started selling at the beginning of the week, and that's kind of the story here. I sold a lot of good pieces
Yeah.
that could have helped me win this week, and yeah, I kind of shot myself in the foot by selling, but I accepted the consequences from my actions. I probably could have beat Dan had I not sold, but I decided to sell. This win wasn't important to me. Um, Getting in on the sweet deals was more important.
Yeah, and you had a lot of good offers, right? So, and we're going to talk about that. I know you're anxious to talk about some of the trade scenarios and how they broke down. So,
Yeah, for sure.
no, it's a big week for Dan. Good win. You made it competitive, even though your team's half of what it was before. I would say, if not
Yeah,
worse. You know,
yeah,
but you made it competitive, and yeah, 8-5 is not. It's not a complete like beat down. You made it close. A couple little stats would have went the other way and you could have won, right? So
yeah. That's it. Like even like looking at shots on goal at 73. Usually I have like 80 to 90, but I sold off some pieces there. 6 goals. I sold off some goal scorers. 14 assists to his 18. Again, got rid of some of my assist guys like Dobson. Dobson is an Apple machine, right? And then getting rid of Bobrovsky hurt me. I think I would have had this one in the bag had I kept my team. But like I said, I did my analysis and determined that, I could make the playoffs, but I didn't think I would have a good chance at winning. And I felt it was more prudent to prep for next season.
no, you made a right choice. Who knows? You might still make the playoffs. Um, but you're not expected to do damage, like
No, that's it. I still have like a half decent team despite selling off some pieces, but yeah, I'm not expecting to make the playoffs. But if I do, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not. I'm okay.
No, I like what you did. You took advantage. The time was right for someone else to jump into the trade market. Because people were clamoring for available pieces. We're gonna talk about it in a minute here. Well, let's talk about it now.
Yeah,
We'll talk about some trades here and the crazy like mini deadline we just had essentially. That's what it felt like at least. Let me just move this here so I can see who was making these trades here. So Derek was the first to declare. He declared like Sunday night, essentially saying, send me your trades. I will review them at this time on Monday. And that's what got the ball rolling, right? Some people really went out there. Some good offers. Let's see what we got here. Derek moving to Brinkat, Stamkos, and 2 15s to Travis here for Pacioretty, Ranta, a 6 and an 8. What do you think of this trade?
I think it's a pretty good trade for both parties. Stamkos kind of he's getting up there in age. He's still probably worth a six, but how much longer is he going to be worth a six? So I think it's probably a good time to sell Stamkos. And then DeBrincat uh, is a great piece for Travis to add. And he got a good price. I like this deal for both people.
I think good on Derek for getting a 6. I would have valued each of those guys at a 7. So a 6 and an 8, like kind of same thing almost.
Yeah,
Especially Travis's 6 at this point. Um, Derek gets a goalie he could use, and who knows if he picks it up, maybe he'll have some value closer to the deadline, right? Like
yeah,
good on Derek. Travis saw a couple good pieces that he wanted, and he went out and he paid the price for them. He had an abundance of picks, and it was a good deal. I made a half-assed offer on Stamkos. Forget what it was. It was like an 8 or something like that. Uh,
yeah,
but that was it. I wasn't seriously pursuing him. But I heard about this deal, and okay, there was another guy I was going after. We'll get to him soon. He was traded, but not to me. Uh, and I'll have a little story of that. But I think it was a good trade for both guys in this case. This is the one that Derek kind of put out the big speech for, as Stamkos has been a long time keeper of his. So he thanked him for all he did for his organization and sent him on his way. You know,
yeah, yeah. It was very, very classy statement.
was mentally Bedarded here. Like I said, decide to get in on a few moves there while some big names were moving. He went and picked up a Ronick and a ninth. In exchange, he sent Sogard and a seventh to Derek. What do you think of this?
Um, yeah, is Sokard getting a lot more time in Ottawa, or this just like a throwaway?
It's a throwaway, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, so he paid like a seventh for Ronick and a ninth. Yeah, I feel like that's a bit steep for what he got. Ronick's a good player, but I don't know. I felt like he could have
He's killing
maybe
it
not.
this year, though. He has like a lot of points. He's almost
Oh,
like a
does he?
Dobson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, if that's going to fill a hole in his lineup, then I mean that's good for him.
I don't necessarily like the seventh, but it's only a ninth. You get a ninth back. Like I don't mind it with that high of a pick coming back. I can see why he did it. He wanted to make sure he got the player he wanted, and I think Derek was asking for a seventh, and he probably just said, "I'll give it, but I need a good pick coming back." Right. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like a huge pick difference.
I like it for well for both, but I like the addition for Kyle's actual roster. So this is the other one where you're just talking about Dobson. So you got a good, I think you got a good price for Dobson. So you moved Dobson at 11th and a 13th over to Travis for a 6th and a 12th. So essentially the 12, 13, it's a wash, right? But a 6, 4, and 11th for Dobson. So tell me about this deal.
Yeah, Dobson's been having quite a stellar year this year. I picked him up. I want to say I got him in the eighth round. Um, and the funny thing is, because I drafted two defensemen with my six, because there wasn't much at the beginning of the draft in terms of like forwards. Um,
Yeah, Carlson, was it?
Carlson and Fox, and
Yeah.
then I pick up Dobson in like the eighth round or ninth round, ends up outperforming both of them by a country mile. He's been hot all season. He's one of the top defensemen in the league. I felt this was I know you're not a fan of paying sixes for defense, but in terms of what he's done this season, so far, and he's been consistent. I felt this was a fair value for both involved.
Yeah, I would have paid that, but Dobson's a good pickup. He does do everything. Right now he's putting up really good numbers. It's a big get for Travis, and this was before you even declared as a seller,
Yeah,
because this was done the day before you started accepting your offers, right? So, well, the day you
it,
started accepting, it was shortly after this. You
yeah, it was just like an offer is too good to pass up, eh? And this is what kind of like prompts me to sell is that, well, like if I wait too long, I'm not going to get a six for Dobson, and I just didn't think my team was serious enough to compete in the playoffs. Like maybe win one round, but I didn't think I was going beyond one round. And I'm like, I'm gonna get as much as value as I can out of my players I'm not keeping. Um, although, like, I was considering keeping Dobson, but like again, it's one of those things. Like, does he repeat what he did this year, next year? I don't know. You know,
No one
but
else is keeping him probably, so he's just gonna go back in.
yeah, I would think so.
I don't think
There,
Travis is keeping him.
no, so like I could potentially pick him back up if I want to.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, exactly. I thought this was a win for you, definitely for getting a sixth for him. But I don't think it's a loss for Travis. I think he's a good player to pick up for a deep run. He had an abundance of picks, so maybe even a little bit of overpayment didn't really matter to him. And he just here you go, you
Yeah,
know. So I think it's good for both of you. I think I give the edge to you because I don't think a six for a defenseman should really be a thing. Like, but exception maybe Makar, but
I was gonna say in my car, like the guy's putting up Bobby Orr numbers.
yeah. So, but Travis not done. Then he went and sold a little bit, moving Tage and 3 15s to Mark for Devon Tays, a seventh, eighth, and an 11th. What do you think of this?
This is a great deal for Travis. You know, he loads back up on picks, gets rid of a player who's underperforming this year, and you know, enables him to conduct more trades later. You know, and there's a Dumpster Fire is getting a player obviously that he's going to keep. Tage Thompson's a good player. Is he keeper worthy? Probably, and probably hoping that he has a bit of a better season next year. So there's a little bit of a risk involved for Mark. It might pan out for him. It might not. We don't know yet until we see next season. But I really like this deal for Travis.
I like the deal for both. One, I think Travis gave up on Tage too early. He's having one bad year. I think Tage is gonna be a great player again next year. So I think this is kind of like a McKinnon scenario where you gave up on McKinnon and it came back to bite you. I think this will come back, and Travis, he'll take it personally. Why did I do that? But he got a really good haul for him. I had told him like if you're gonna move him, he's never gonna have a higher value than right now, right?
Yeah,
So he got an eight and a seventh, which he will use shortly. We'll see. Um, but yeah, Tage Thompson going the one way, big for Mark. He upgrades his keepers, which is what his goal was. He's not going to find a Tage with the seventh or an eighth in the draft, so we gave it
that's
away
right.
for one, right?
Yeah,
But good on Travis. That's a good haul for a player that for one guy, right? You got three good pick upgrades, and he turned it into something else. This deal. So this guy, I said Derek a trade for McNabb before his deadline. He said his deadline, and this trade went through 2 days after the deadline, and I sent it for a 12th. So McNabb ends up going for an 11th. So McNabb and a 16th going to Plums, and 11th going to Derek. I sent I forget who the player was I sent, but I sent an 11th or a 12th for a 15th, I think it was. And he said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm going to see what he's worth." And he goes out, and I guess this is what he was worth was an 11th, but he never came back to me, and I didn't like
yeah,
that. I took that personally.
yeah. I think that's kind of a mistake because you want to bounce like, hey, I'm being offered this, I'm being offered this. Can you match this? Can you like exceed this? I think
Yeah,
that's a bit of a mistake on Derek's part because he's not getting maximum value for his trade if he's selling and everybody knows he's selling and he's not going back and forth to try and get maximum value for but maybe he just wanted to do it simple and didn't want to do all the haggling and negotiating, but
But
that's kind of
he
his
did a
loss.
little bit because I sent him that offer before his deadline, and two
Yeah,
days later he takes this one, which wasn't in at the time. You know,
I
so he
see.
knows I was interested in the player. It was a great pickup for Plums. I think this is a great player. This guy's a block machine, which is why I was interested in him. Uh, I just think Derek might have been able to like squeeze a little bit more out of the situation, but at least in a way, just come back to me and tell me like, hey, this is what I was offered. You know, as
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
Shems would in this scenario.
Good piece for Kyle to pick up,
I
boost
like it.
his blocks as he comes down the stretch and tries to squeeze into the playoffs.
I like the deal though. Like, I do like the deal for Kyle. It's a fair price to pay. I valued McNabb between a 10th and a 12th, and I thought at 11th is a good deal for Derek. Good deal for Kyle. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, we'll talk about this one trade, and then we'll stop for part one because we're gonna get into all your crazy ass deals here.
yeah,
So Anze Kopitar and a ninth going to you um, from Neil for Farabee and a 12th. Why don't you tell me about this one?
yeah. This was an easy one to accept. I mean, I'd almost call it an overpayment by Neil, but the thing is, I think partially he was interested in the left wing position, um, because like Farabee and Kopitar, they're pretty similar. This was easy for me to sell. It was a super easy decision. I picked up Farabee on the waiver wire, um, and he's having a good season, and he's definitely worth something. And yeah, it
I
just
definitely think Kopitar is worth something still too, right? So
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
come
for
calling
sure.
for Kopitar whenever they need one.
Yeah, Kopitar's put up some good numbers this year. He's definitely worth something. But again, as we've seen this year, center is kind of oversaturated. And and again, I kind of think this was like a winger kind of deal because, if you have too many centers and
Yeah,
you want a good winger, they're a bit harder to come by this year for whatever reason.
there aren't as many. I don't find there's as many multi-position players right now. So uh,
I agree.
you're trying to make the best lineup you can, where you can plug all the holes, right? So I like the deal for both of you. I like the return you got. Um, Kopitar himself could probably fetch you another ninth, I would imagine, right? So
Yeah, I've
it'll
put him
be
out there. I think he's worth something, but nobody's come and asked around yet. So we'll
not
see.
yet, but just so you guys know, he's still for sale.
Absolutely.
All right, now we're going to into your crazy stuff, but we're gonna stop because we have 5 minutes left in this one. So there will be a part two this week. You guys are for a treat. We're giving you more of our time.
Yeah, yeah. Two videos, 1 week.
That's it. It's like the old days when this league always traded.